In a world of countless beliefs, sacred texts, and competing spiritual claims, one question rises like a mountain through the fog. Is there one true religion? It's a question that has outlived empires, ignited revolutions, and comforted souls standing at the edge of eternity. It's not merely a matter of curiosity, it's a matter of truth, and perhaps even of salvation. For centuries, kings and prophets, scholars and seekers have wrestled with this dilemma. From the stone tablets of Sinai to the sands of Arabia, from the meditative caves of India to the blood-stained arenas of Rome, humanity has cried out to the heavens, not only for meaning but for clarity. If God exists, can he be known? And if he can be known, has he spoken through one people, one prophet, one path? Or are all religions mere fragments of a divine mystery too vast for any single tradition to hold? This video does not seek to offer easy answers. Instead, it embarks on a historical and theological exploration of the world's greatest truth claims. What emerges is not just a comparison of beliefs, but a confrontation with the deepest longing of the human heart, to know what is real and to live accordingly. Throughout the centuries, civilizations have risen and fallen under the banners of religious belief, from ancient temples to medieval cathedrals, from desert prophets to mountaintop revelations. Humanity has consistently sought communion with something beyond itself. But as religious traditions multiplied and doctrines diverged, a single piercing question emerged. Is there one true religion? The ancient roots of religious exclusivity. The earliest records of religious practice, Sumerian hymns, Egyptian rituals, Vedic chants, reveal polytheistic systems rooted in cosmic order and divine hierarchy. Yet even among these early beliefs, seeds of exclusivity existed. Pharaoh Akhenaten, in the 14th century BCE, attempted a radical monotheistic reform in Egypt, exalting the Aten as the sole deity. Though short-lived, this moment hinted at a deeper instinct that perhaps there is one ultimate source. It was the Hebrews, however, who gave monotheism its enduring voice. By the time of Moses, the declaration of "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one," Deuteronomy 6:4, formed the theological backbone of Judaism. This idea that there is one supreme, personal and moral God would go on to reshape history. The Abrahamic divide, one God, many claims from the Jewish Shema, came two other seismic faiths, Christianity and Islam. Each, while rooted in monotheism and tracing spiritual lineage to Abraham, makes exclusive truth claims. Judaism holds to a covenant between God and Israel, centered on the Torah, awaiting a future messianic age. Christianity proclaims that the promised Messiah has already come, in the person of Jesus Christ, God incarnate, whose death and resurrection offer salvation to all mankind. Islam asserts that Muhammad is the final prophet, the Quran the final revelation, correcting distortions in previous scriptures. Here lies the historical dilemma. All three claim to be the true faith, yet they fundamentally diverge on who God is, how salvation is attained, and what the divine expects of humanity. The Eastern traditions, universality versus particularity. In contrast, Eastern religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism approach the divine less as a person and more as an ultimate reality or force. Hinduism encompasses a spectrum, from monotheism to polytheism to pantheism, yet it speaks of a singular, unifying essence, Brahman. Buddhism, emerging from Hindu roots, sidesteps the question of God altogether, focusing instead on enlightenment through the cessation of desire and suffering. Historically, these religions have been more pluralistic, allowing for multiple paths, gods, or realizations. However, they too offer structured doctrines, moral imperatives, and distinct worldviews about life, death, and transcendence. Theology of truth. Can contradictions coexist? From a theological standpoint, truth by definition is exclusive. Yet others argue for inclusivism, that while one religion may be truest, others may contain partial truths and still be avenues of divine encounter. The Catholic Church, for instance, in Lumen Gentium, acknowledges that truth can exist outside its visible structure, though it holds the fullness of truth within itself. Still others promote pluralism, the idea that all religions are culturally shaped expressions of the same divine reality. Thinkers like John Hick have argued that the world's religions are different human responses to the same ineffable divine presence. But historically and theologically, pluralism struggles with coherence. Religions don't merely differ in ritual. They contradict one another on fundamental truths: the nature of God, the meaning of sin, the destiny of the soul, prophetic validation, and the test of time. If one religion is true, then it must be validated not only by theological coherence, but also by prophetic fulfillment, historical endurance, and spiritual fruit. This is why religious texts and traditions place heavy emphasis on prophecy. The Hebrew prophets pointed to a coming Messiah, whose life, death, and resurrection, Christians argue, were fulfilled in Jesus. Islam claims the Quran is unmatched in linguistic perfection and revelation, revealed over 23 years to a historically verifiable figure. Hinduism and Buddhism trace long lineages of teachers and sages, with emphasis on experiential wisdom passed down over millennia. And so the historical theological test becomes: which tradition best accounts for the nature of reality, the human condition, divine intervention, and the continuity of revelation? Here is a question that demands a choice. The question, is there one true religion, is not simply academic, it is existential. If even one religion is true in its fullest claim, then it holds eternal implications. And if none are true, then humanity must face the mystery of existence alone or search anew. History tells us that religious truth claims have shaped empires, liberated souls, divided peoples, and inspired acts of transcendent love and devastating violence. Theology reminds us that truth is not just a matter of preference, but a claim about what ultimately is. In the end, this question cannot be answered by neutrality. It demands investigation, reflection, and ultimately, a response. Conclusively, the question, is there one true religion, is not a mere intellectual exercise. It is a doorway into the deepest questions of existence. If all religions are equally valid, then truth is fluid, and we are left to navigate eternity with only our instincts as guide. But if there is one true religion, one path that uniquely reveals the nature of God, the origin of humanity, the purpose of life, and the hope of salvation, then the stakes could not be higher. History shows us that religious claims are not interchangeable. They speak with different voices, describe different gods, and offer different ends. The God of the Bible is not the impersonal Brahman of Hinduism. The path of the Buddha is not the gospel of Christ. The Quran message of submission differs from the Torah's covenant and the Church's proclamation of grace through a crucified Messiah. And yet amid this vast spiritual landscape, we are not left without evidence, without witnesses, or without reason. The true religion, if it exists, must be more than culturally convenient. It must stand the test of time, prophecy, transformation, and divine self-revelation. Ultimately, this is not just a question for scholars or theologians. It's a question for you. If there is one true religion, what does it require of your life? What will you do with the evidence? What will you do with the invitation? Because truth, if it is truly divine, does not merely inform, it transforms, and it waits for your answer. Don't leave the question unanswered. Dive into the sacred texts, compare the claims, examine the historical roots, ask hard questions, wrestle with doubt, but above all, seek truth with sincerity. Don't settle for inherited beliefs or cultural comfort. If there is one true religion, then it's worth your life's pursuit. Eternity is too vast, and the soul too valuable, to drift through faith without conviction. Start today. Read, pray, question, explore, and don't stop until you find the truth that withstands history, reason, and the weight of eternity. Because the true path, if it exists, is not afraid to be tested. And neither should you be afraid to find it. If I may ask, what is your view? Let us know by stating your faith, mind, and views at the comment session. We need answers and clarity of ideal, and please subscribe for more to come.